Hey guys, Millex here. So this video isn't actually finished. I had a hard time getting through it. I had really high expectations for this video. I wanted to cover so many things that I think I just kind of got overwhelmed, and about halfway through the movie part of it, I kind of just was like, I can't do this anymore. Combination of just mental illness and just a lot of things going on. I wasn't able to finish this, but I worked on it with two other people, and I put a lot of effort into this up until the point that it stops. So I wanted to make sure that the people who helped me with this get their get their opinions out there. Um, I hope that no Dragon Nest fans out there are super beaten up about it, but yeah. So about halfway through the movie, the video just ends. So sorry about that, guys, but thanks. Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a video on Dragon Nest. Oh my god, did you really have to start scratching the post at this moment? This moment, right now? Hey guys, so today I'm going to be doing a video about Dragon Nest. This is going to be a pretty lengthy video. I'm going to hopefully get everything into one episode. There's so many aspects to Dragon Nest that I'd love to cover and kind of look at here. I'd love to do interviews. There's two movies, there's spin-off games, there's the actual game, there's a manga apparently. So I want to try to review everything and give you guys one big collective video on it. And so I'm not sure how long this is going to be, but this is the beginning of it. This is me before, and then I'm sure weeks later I will record the last part of this video and I will look completely different. I might even be wearing a different shirt, who knows. I could just wear this shirt for 2 weeks straight, but we shall see. So like I said, I'm not super sure where to start this video. There's a lot of information and I want to make sure I cover it all without taking up too much time and not overloading you with just like fact, event, person, fact. So I guess we can just start with what Dragon Nest is. But you can tell already, it's a fast action MMORPG. This game was developed by a South Korean company, Identity Games, and it was published by Nexon. Identity Games has only ever done Dragon Nest games, and so like Dragon Nest, and I believe they did a mobile version called World of Dragon Nest. But like Nexon, the publisher, has published other games like Maple Story and The Finals, which I've heard of before. I've never played either, but I've heard of them before, and I heard good things.
Argenta has a weakness for small creatures.
Alright, let me transport you guys back to 2007. So back in 2007, Identity was formed to start development on this game. The rights for the name were secured. Dragon Nest, and not Dragon's Nest. The dragon does not own the nest. And there's not multiple dragons in this nest. It is Dragon Nest. In 2010, Identity was bought by a Chinese company called Shengku Games, which was originally called Shonda Games, and now it's called Shengku. I hope I am saying that right.
省去
Also, coincidentally, they also operated Maple Story and Final Fantasy XIV, so they were operating, I assume, those servers in China. I'm not sure. And just going through Wikipedia, I'm noticing there's like a large web of like Asian development and publishing companies that are constantly buying each other and going bankrupt and then changing their names and partnering with other companies, and it's kind of confusing. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Brother, look what else came flying aboard. Let's keep them.
So just a little bit of drama going on with Identity Games. Now this was way after, this is in 2018, way after they developed it and everything. And in 2018, Dragon Nest was definitely not at its peak at all by any means. But so the icky little drama they got into, the CEO, God, I'm going to butcher this name, Guo Haibin, and other management members were jailed after they were caught with holding 60 million won, which is, I don't know if I'm saying that right either, but just the Korean currency is the won. But 60 million won is about 44,000 US dollars. They were caught with holding that of overtime payment for 160 employees over the course of 3 years. So basically, these employees were working until 1 a.m., 2 a.m. in the morning. They weren't getting paid for their overtime, and the company was just like, oh yeah, we're going to get to that eventually. Oh, sorry about that. And the employees eventually were just like, guess this is just how it goes. I guess this is just what we're doing now. We're just working our butts off here and not getting paid for it. And that's just what we're expected to do. So they even went as far as to submit falsified documents to the Labor Office of China, claiming that they had fixed the problem, claiming that they paid overtime. It was such good falsified documents that it fooled them. Like, no one even noticed until after the fact. What makes everything kind of worse is that the year prior, the company had made 22.8 billion won, which is about 16.7 million in profit the year prior. So it's not like they didn't have the money, but I don't really know anything about running a business. But it sounds like they're making bank here. But so that was just a little thing. This is just, the article that I read about this was in Korean, and it was translated with Google Translate. So, I mean, we'll see. I don't know how well that actually translated. I'm going to try to put some of my references down below, maybe in the link or something, so you guys can read this for yourself, because I may have butchered the information, and maybe Google butchered the information a little bit. But that's the gist of it. So pretty shitty thing to do.
The Black Dragon Gem. Do you feel its power?
Yeah, so I straight up made a timeline for this video because I felt like it. And I even added a side on the left for very important moments in history, so you could, kind of relate and be like, oh, that's what's going on at that time. And, just to make you feel a little extra old. And I want to preface this timeline that the exact days really vary. It's kind of why I've just sort of made it like, oh, during this general time of the month or this time of the year even, this thing happened, because Wikipedia and the Dragon Nest wiki and whatever other resource I looked at were really not consistent with like days and times of the year even. So like I already said, in November 2007, Identity Games secured the rights to the name Dragon Nest and began production, I presume. A month later, the Chinese version of the game was announced, and a year later, a Japanese version was announced in November of 2008. And then late 2009, a North American version is announced. So they're just announcing different countries' versions throughout the next few years. In March 2010, the game was officially released in South Korea, and everyone was super hyped for it. This game was very, very popular in the Eastern Hemisphere, in like the Asia market. The Chinese and Japanese official releases are out in July 2010 and August 2010 respectively. Later in 2010, Taiwan and Hong Kong get releases. In October 2011, the North American and Southeast Asian versions of the game are released. In 2012, it's released in Thailand, Indonesia, and Russia in that order. In March of 2013, the European version is finally released after 3 years of it already being released originally. A movie is made in 2014 called Dragon Nest Warrior's Dawn and is loosely based on the story of the game. We will get back to that movie later. At some point during this year, probably summer of 2014, one of my ex-high school friends invites me to start playing this game, and I'm immediately hooked on it by the plot. In December 2015, it's released in Turkey and Vietnam. Geez, it's been 5 years. September 2016, a sequel to the first movie, Dragon Nest 2, Throne of Elves, is released, and we will get back to that later again. This is about where the player base starts to fall drastically. The graphics, 6 years after, are starting to look kind of bad in comparison to other games that people could be playing. I mean, Fortnite was out by now. And a lot of other games that people could be playing, PUBG and stuff like that. So I think this RPGs were kind of. I don't think it's crazy to say RPGs kind of have fallen to the backside lately. Fallen to the wayside rather, not the backside. For more like shooty games, more competitive kind of games. And at this point, there's been so many like updates and new cosmetic things and new kind of events and everything. The game basically has become pay to win. You can just buy in-game currency and get the best stuff. And that kind of ruins games over time because people can just immediately go into the game, buy the best stuff, be the best, and then new players who maybe don't have enough money are just left like, okay, cool, so I have to grind and now I'll never be as good as anyone else. I don't find that to be an issue personally. Like, I can see why it's very annoying that other people can just pay to win, especially in a competitive game where, you know, you're pitted against each other. But in this game, there's not really much of that. Most of the time, you are cooperatively going through levels. There is PvP, but it's only in select moments. In this game particularly, pay-to-win stuff doesn't really matter to me, honestly, because I like just a single-player experience. I try not to compare myself to other people on there, so that doesn't ruin it for me. But so this I think kind of makes the player base toxic as well. Most of the people who are playing now probably have played since the game came out. And then, you know, so just a variety of reasons of why I think that the player base kind of started dwindling. And then in 2018, the Russian servers begin closing down. And then the next year in 2019, the European servers start closing down one by one. Now, the only two servers that remain are the North American and the Southeast Asian servers. So this is kind of where the noteworthy events end for Dragon's Nest, and kind of where we're going to find ourselves now logging back in, seeing that it's a game that's apparently barely surviving on like a very low player base, but still on Steam, still people playing it. I don't see any reason for them to take it down just yet.
I caught a fish. Grab the sword, fish.
How did you originally hear about the game?
So I met a guy, I think it was like a friend through a friend kind of thing. I met a guy one day and we were talking on Skype. That's how long ago it was. We couldn't afford World of Warcraft. You know, we were high school, freshman, sophomore in high school. Couldn't afford memberships that could barely afford like a RuneScape membership. Dragon's Nest, I think, was one that like at the time it wasn't kind of like riddled with like pay to win, kind of like the other ones were.
Heard about it with my high school dudes. It was released in like early high school for me. So
Yeah.
I heard them talk about it, and I joined them when they went to the internet cafe that I was talking about. And I
Right.
watched them play, and I rented a PC as well to play with them. And then it was fun. I enjoyed it. And from there, yeah, just started my journey to the Dragonist life. But that's where I heard.
So about how long did you play it for, like overall? How long? How many years?
Counting, well, if you're just talking about like actual playtime and not like super active, probably say 13 years, more than a decade, that's for sure. I've been playing
Really?
it since
Oh.
the open beta test,
Wow.
like
Okay.
at the very beginning of it, and then I only stopped a couple of years ago, like probably 3-4 years ago. So yeah, it's pretty long, more than a decade, that's for
Oh,
sure.
all right. So you probably know a lot about it then. Everything that's
I'm
happened.
very opinionated.
I think you said you played it for like a year or so, or how long have you? So how long
Yeah,
did you play
I
the
would
game?
say I played it pretty much like I would get home from school and play it like from the minute I walked in the door till I had to go to bed for a good 6 months to a year.
So when did you play it? Like, was this like high school or was this a little after?
Yeah, I played
Okay.
it early high school, like maybe the end of like middle school years, but it was definitely like more around like freshman, sophomore year of high school.
Okay. Yeah, somebody that we went to school with introduced me to it, and
Oh, okay.
about like 2014, I think he was just like, "Hey, here's this game," and I just, I then that's history for me. I just kept playing it.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, until like I think the only reason I stopped was because like other like life there was a lot going on in my life at that moment, so I just kind of was like,
Uh-huh.
this is not the most important thing right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
We could take a step back from the video games.
yeah. Did you have like a favorite play style or class or anything like that? Because there was actually a lot of potential classes that like
Yeah,
so.
I actually went and pulled up the list of classes to make sure I could like get the names right. Because
Yeah.
like whenever I play an MMO or just like a standard RPG like Skyrim or something, I almost always go mage. Because the way I look at it, it's like it's a role playing game. I don't want to do something I can do in real life. So like
Sure.
I don't want to be a standard warrior or like an
Right.
archer. That's kind of boring. So I always go mage. But for the first time in like and I think ever really, I fell in love with the assassin class. Like, and I think that was because it was like the edgy class at the
Oh
time,
yeah, of
since
course.
like all the classes are gender locked, and
Yeah.
so like this guy was like wearing the dark armor and like used all the like darkness moves and everything like that. So I was like, man, this dude, this guy's a badass. Look at this dude. I don't know, like there was something about his abilities and his kit that just felt so natural to use, and like everything just kind of worked together, like very. It flowed, I guess is what I'm trying to think. It flowed very well, so it felt actually like really nice to use, and it wasn't like kind of clunky.
I started off with actually no, I didn't even. Yeah, I started off with the archer because it looked cool,
Yeah.
but I then went for the cleric. That's usually what I play most of the time, and I main a tank class, so I was a guardian main. I love playing as a tank in terms of role playing games. I enjoy it,
Right.
and but I've actually played most of the classes because when you play a game for more than a decade, you kind of get bored
Yeah.
playing the same thing. So one of the things that I did was I have like 6 accounts, seven plus accounts, and unlike the other accounts where they just use it to farm, I actually like had a goal where I would level up every character different class. So I'd start with a warrior. So I've played like the swordmaster, then the moon lord, gladiator, so on and so forth. Then I do the archer, and because each free account only has like 16 slots, 12 slots. I remember if I remember correctly. You can only play a maximum of 3 characters with how much subclasses there were.
So since you're so involved with the community, like what's your experience with it? Have you find people to be
Uh,
helpful or toxic?
this is a kind of a bit of a long answer because I used to be active. I'm not active anymore, clearly, because I stopped.
Right.
But back when I was active, I'm speaking for Southeast Asia, by the way. I don't know how it is in NA or EU, but in Southeast Asia, it actually started with cherry credits. Right now, it's been degraded to the subreddit and the identity forums, but the identity forums is a shell of what it once was, which was the cherry credits forums. And I'm sure you don't know this because the cherry credits was the publisher or the Southeast Asia Dragoness, and those were the quote unquote the golden years of Dragoness C. The initial cherry credits forums, it was a fun community. I think it wasn't that toxic, at least from my memory. People memed around, they played around, they weren't that serious of the game. When you ask for help, they'll offer
Right.
it. If someone's being an idiot, if someone's being like the village idiot, they'll put them down. So it was very normal 2009 internet experience
Yeah.
for the typical forums. And then moving forward to that, the identity forums, which is what's currently happening right now. I haven't really browsed there much, but from what little I've gathered, I am okay with it for the most part. As for the subreddit, I'd probably say there's definitely a lot of sensitive people there. I will say like I wouldn't call them toxic, but I'd probably say they're definitely overreacting to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Considering that the subreddit in the first place isn't that active to begin with, they seem to be very. They're more heavy in moderating than me, and I'm the moderator.
Like, I know we agreed earlier that, like, oh, we kind of are solo players when it comes to MMOs, but, like,
Yeah.
did you have any, like, communication with, like, other players or anything like that?
Yeah, so back in the day, I remember people being like very helpful. Like there's gonna be toxicity. It's an online game, you
Yeah,
know.
for sure.
But I remember people being very nice back in the day and like willing to help out with practically everything and give you tips on like, proper like ability setups and like keybinds and all kinds of stuff.
I know you said you were okay with buying things as long as it didn't increase your level, but did you ever spend
Yeah,
money?
back when I played, I was just a poor high schooler. I couldn't
Fair
afford
enough.
anything like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's why I was looking for free-to-play MMOs because I couldn't afford
Right, yes.
to, buy a game, let alone pay for cosmetics.
Yeah, that's fair. I also I try to not spend money on a game unless I'm going to, like, definitely be playing this for another year or so. Like,
Yeah,
I'm like
like
yeah.
I'm totally down to like to spend money on a free game, like if I actually like it. And it's like if this game I'm getting more hours out of it than I am like a $60 game, I don't mind throwing $10 here and there. Like,
I have spent money in the game, not as ludicrous as the others do, but I have spent money because I wanted to support the game and I wanted to like buy some of the cash items, specifically the hair, the hair for the cleric. This was back in my edgy theme days where I thought that was so
Yes.
cool.
Yes,
The
we've all
unkempt
done it.
hair where I looked like a anime character. I was like, oh man, yeah, this stuff, my dude. Like, yeah, I'm so cool. But now I've grown up, I've matured. Now I know that the real haircut is the bowl cut. That's my favorite hairstyle, the default bowl cut. But anyway, yes, I have spent money in the game, so.
So would you ever consider going back to the game and playing it again? I know you've played it for so long now, but I'm just asking because it's one of my questions.
uh, yes, actually, I have considered, and I have went back. It's like a toxic relationship where.
Yeah.
Wait, how PG-13 is this conversation? Do I have to keep it family friendly?
No, you're fine.
Oh, okay, yeah, just edit it out if it's too much. It's like a toxic relationship. The sex is great, but everything else, she strangles me. But from time to time, I want to go back because the sex is just that good.
So, like, would you would you ever go back to playing it? Have you ever been curious about, like, re-downloading it?
I would probably like jump onto one of the private servers because, like you said, the main servers are pretty much dead. I'd
Yeah.
probably go and jump onto a private server just to see like what's changed about the game. Because looking at the classes, like I don't remember two, maybe three of these classes even existing.
All right. Well, is there anything else that you want to share about the game that you think I didn't that you think that needs to be said?
I mean, I definitely think it's worth checking out, even if it's like just to hop on and see what people were playing back in the day, because this was something that I remember very fondly coming home from school and just be like, oh man, I can't wait to call so and so, whatever his name was, like, because I haven't talked to him in years, and be like, let's get on Dragon's Nest. We gotta get on. We gotta do our grind.
Yeah, just call up your friend like 10 years later and be like, hey, you hopping on?
Yeah.
Just out of nowhere.
Yeah, find him on Facebook. Just be like, hey man, you up for some Dragon's Nest?
For me, it's like I know I've said a lot of negative things, but I do think the game is fun. For what it is, it's really fun. One of the best things I've experienced in my life. However, the only reason why I'm so critical about it is because I'm passionate about it.
Right.
You can't be critical. You can't be this critical about something if you don't love it. That's
Yes.
exactly why. So I love
Yes.
the game, and that's why I'm so critical about it. It's like watching your baby grow up into someone who does crime. It's like, no,
Yes.
I didn't raise you to be this way. I didn't.
Yeah.
I love you. I love you. Don't do this.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. So I don't know if for anyone listening, I definitely try out the game. It's more fun with friends for sure. The game's really fun. You have to realize that my inputs come from playing the game for more than a decade. Christ. I
Yeah.
mean,
Is there anything you want to plug? Like, do you have any channels or?
I mean, I'm an artist, so and it's not Dragonist related.
No, that's
so,
fine. No, that's fine.
But and it's
Anything.
definitely not safe for work.
Oh
You
yes.
can,
Oh yes.
You can
Now
check
I
the
remember.
links. Yeah, yeah. So I do have socials. It's not Dragonist related. It is art, and it is not safe art. Not because well, I'm not. I mean, it's because of my clients. Okay, the people with the
Yeah.
money
Yeah.
want the raunchy stuff. It's not me, but
Yes.
yeah, there is that. You can check in my profiles. It's in my Twitter or Instagram if you want to see some art, but it's not Dragonist related. So yeah.
One last thing. Is there anything that you want to like plug or anything you have to?
I'm currently like uploading all of the work that I do for my school to ArtStation. I can share that, and like right now there's not a lot on there, but it's slowly like I'm like slowly adding to it. If anyone's interested, they can keep up with what I'm going through and seeing all the stuff that I'm putting out.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll throw that down in the description. Check out his game art. I did want to ask you. It's not the games. Have you watched the movies?
I've heard about them. I have not watched them because I watched like the first few minutes and I was like, oh no, this is not it. I haven't watched them, so I can't say if they're good. So, but
Okay.
at least first impression wise, I was like, nah. For someone passionate in it, this is not what I was expecting. So I'd rather not waste an hour and a half of my time or maybe more to look at this.
Well, I wasted an hour and a half watching the movie.
No, well, I mean,
just for the video, just for research. For research purposes.
for research purposes, you sacrifice yourself
Yeah.
for the research gods.
For
yeah.
science. Yeah. It was.
My condolences, my dude. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I mean, did you dislike it?
Yeah. It wasn't that great.
Kill. I like the sound of that.
Wow, wasn't that last thing really cool? Alright, now we are getting back to the movie that was released based on the games. So the film was directed by Song Yu-Feng, I hope I said that right, who directed the second Dragon's Nest movie, as well as Ping Pong Rabbit. Okay, I need to talk about Ping Pong Rabbit real fast. Ping Pong Rabbit tells the story of a young country rabbit who loves playing ping pong. Big City Ping Pong turns out to be a rougher game though, and he must battle evil monkeys to save the soul of the game. From the co-director of Corpse Bride. Okay. So I was looking and this movie has no user reviews on IMDb, but somehow has an 8.3 out of 10 in ratings. I feel like it has to be a joke. But I don't know, I guess I've never seen it, but maybe it's a masterpiece because in the more like this section is the Empire Strikes Back. But maybe I don't want to see it because in the parent guide, somebody wrote that the ping pong rabbit gets shot by his own grandfather in the end of the movie. It's very gory, very emotional, and he dies right outside the ping pong championship hall. I really hope that this is true. Maybe I'll do a video about Ping Pong Rabbit. But anyways, back to Dragon Nest. It's directed by Song Yifeng, produced by Mealy Pictures, and distributed by Hyexi Film Distribution in China and then Universal Pictures internationally. I was trying to figure out how much money this movie made and what the budget was, but the Wikipedia doesn't have much information on it, and whatever is there is kind of confusing and paradoxical. The IMDb says that it has information, but it's locked behind a paywall. The English voice acting cast actually stars some pretty big names, like Charlie Schlatter, who has voiced The Flash in almost every animated incarnation besides the Justice League. He was the titular Kick Buttowski in the Disney XD show, and he was the voice of the Cheerios Bee from 2004 to 2015. So like prime Alex being a kid time to where I would have seen that bee. Although I recognize him originally from the direct-to-video Tom and Jerry movie, Tom and Jerry and the Magic Ring, where he is Tom's wizard owner. Took me forever. I watched like almost a whole movie before I could figure out who he was. In this movie, he voices the very annoying protagonist. Other people you might recognize are Carrie Ann Moss, most known for playing Trinity in The Matrix, or she also plays Jerry Hogarth in the Netflix Marvel shows. And Lucas Grabeel, whom I know from the High School Musical movies, which is crazy to me. So this movie acts as a 50-year prequel to the games, showing the journey the legendary 6 heroes go on through the eyes of a warrior who's basically just filling the role as the player character, and also his elf love interest, who also kind of plays the role of a player character. Because it's a prequel, I thought it would be best to cover it before I actually get into the game. So without further ado, let's start up this movie.
Kill. I like the sound of that.
So you can look it up. Also, the second movie has just been entirely uploaded to YouTube. And yeah, so don't know why that is still up, why somebody can upload the entirety of the movie with no repercussions, but I can't post a black and white clip from the movie while speaking over it. I don't understand that, but sure, thanks. Didn't that movie look just awful? There's so much more I wanted to do for this video. I had so much written out. Obviously, earlier on, I said I wanted to do the manga, the other movie, the spin-off games. There's so much, like, other things other than the main game for Dragon Nest, and I wish I could cover it all. Maybe I will in the future. Maybe I'll go back and cover, like, side games and everything like that. But this, I tried to tackle a video that was way out of my league. I've never did anything this size before, and I think I just kind of got myself in deep and made a lot of promises in the video that I wasn't ready to deliver on. But I hope you guys see that the game actually has a lot of lore in it, has a lot of love put into it. Even if some of the things said about the company, and there are some glitches in the game, maybe the graphics aren't up to date, maybe the movie didn't look too good, but there's clearly a very dedicated fan base, and the developers put a lot of like funny jokes and nods, and they had a lot of fun with writing the script for this game. So it's free on Steam. You can download it and play it if you're in America or Asia. It's absolutely available. I really recommend checking it out at some point, or at least like taking a look. It's a dead game by all means, but I think it still has a lot to offer if you just want a quick kind of experience, a quick fun little romp, because it is very fast paced. It is very interesting and really fun. There's a lot of customization that you can do with your character, and the storyline is interesting as well. Each class has its own unique storyline, and they kind of interchange and crisscross with each other. You'll run into the other classes' characters in your own storyline, and you can see how they interact with each other. My favorite was the assassin class. There was a lot of time manipulation and kind of jumping forward and backwards. At one point, you're in the past and you're kind of reliving the events of the movie, actually. So it's very interesting. It's very fun. So yeah, I'd recommend the assassin class if you had to, or like the dark Avenger class is really cool too and edgy. But thank you guys. I'm so sorry I couldn't finish this. I really don't think there's any crazy Dragon Nest fans that are crying. I'm gonna cry or lose sleep about this, but I do intend to work on other projects. I really want to work on other projects, but I kind of had this looming over my head, and I wanted to just kind of wrap it up and be like, okay, I need to move on. Sometimes you just gotta be like, I'm not gonna work on this. You need to admit it to yourself. Like, I'm not gonna work on this. This isn't going to go the way that I wanted to. You just gotta kind of call it a day at some point and stop beating yourself up about like not finishing it. And I think I hit that point. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed the part of the video that was edited. I had a lot of fun editing most of it. And yeah, thanks.